Hello, welcome to my channel. I am deborahlmccampbell. I'm a licensed cosmetologist as well as a board certified trichologist. I'm the owner of Xplicit Hair Studio located here in San Diego, California. Welcome. Today I want to talk to you about the myths and the facts, the truth about traction alopecia. With that being said, let's get into it. There are so many myths running around traction alopecia, but I'm here to inform you what the facts are. So number one, let's talk about it. Traction alopecia only affects people who wear braids and weaves. What do you think? Is it a fact or is it a myth? Well, it's a myth. The fact of it is, traction alopecia happens to those who wear tight hairstyles, putting tension on the hair follicle. Okay? So number two, is it a myth or a fact? Traction alopecia is always permanent. What do you think? Well, the fact is, if you catch it early enough and the damage is not as extent, you can turn it around and regrow your hair. That's right. It is a myth that traction alopecia is permanent, because it is not. It just depends on the extent of the damage. Of course, you have to stop wearing the hairstyles that was putting the tension on the hair follicle. Okay? So let's look at number three. Myth or fact? Only people with coarse or curly hair gets traction alopecia. What do you think? Myth or fact? Well, it's definitely a myth, because as we said before, the fact is the way you get traction alopecia is if you're wearing tight hairstyles consistently, putting tension on the hair follicle. That's how you get it, okay? And it can affect all types of hair. So it doesn't matter. It just depends on the type of hairstyle that you're wearing. Number four, myth or fact? Traction alopecia is a sign of poor hair care. What do you think? Fact or myth? It's a myth, because even though you may have good hair care regimens and great products, it only matters if you're wearing those hairstyles. I shouldn't say it only matters. You can only get traction alopecia not based on whether you are doing proper hair care, but styling. Proper hairstyling, hairstyles that's putting pressure and tension on the hair follicle is going to actually hurt the hair follicle, damage it actually. So number five, traction alopecia is caused by hair products. What do you think? Myth or fact? Well, it's definitely a myth, because we know that traction alopecia is caused by physical damage when you're putting that tension and pressure on the hair follicle. So it's the tightness that is the culprit, not the hair products at all. So number six, is this a myth or is it a fact? If your hair starts thinning, you should stop washing it often. What do you think? Fact or myth? It is a myth. You should never stop shampooing and conditioning your hair often or frequently if you are having hair thinning. You want to shampoo your hair and condition your hair regular, because that's going to address some of the thinning. Okay, now if you're thinning because you are wearing hairstyles that is causing tension, so you want to stop that, okay? But do not discontinue shampooing and conditioning your hair, and do not go into the protective styles, which many people do, because they think that is going to help it. It is not going to stop the thinning. You need to stop wearing the hairstyles that is causing tension on the hair. Okay, number seven, myth or fact? Traction alopecia can be fixed with hair oils and vitamins alone. What do you think? Myth or fact? Well, that is a myth. Hair is not going to come back on its own with just oils and vitamins. I wish that was a fact, but you have to have more than that. Okay, so what do you have to have? Although the vitamins and oils can support healthy hair, but there's other topicals that you're going to need to boost that hair follicle to come back, that is going to enhance it, because the vitamins and oils, it just can't reverse it by itself. And there's also like light therapy. It's a lot of different holistic care that you can take and to get that hair back. Okay, so number 8, I like number 8. You can wear tight hairstyles occasionally without any risk. What do you think? Fact or myth? All right, it's a myth. Number 8 is a myth. Okay, even occasion tight hairstyles can wreak havoc on your hair follicle and cause damage, okay? Especially if it's done repeatedly. Now, I have an interesting story. Now, I got braids back in May, and it was irritating the back of it was too tight. It was just being too tight. When I took those out, I did experience some hair loss, which was traction alopecia, although it's mild, and I am working on bringing it back. So yeah, so you can get it from occasional hairstyles, but not without any risk. So that's a myth. Myth number 9. Older people get traction alopecia. Only older people get traction alopecia. Is that a myth or a fact? Only older people get traction alopecia. You already know the answer to that. The fact is that anyone can get traction alopecia. It depends on the physical tightness and the consistently tight hairstyles on the hair follicle. So anyone at any age can get it, even children. If they're wearing braids and ponytails that is putting a lot of physical tension on their hair, they're going to end up with traction alopecia as well. So it doesn't matter how old you are, you can get it at any age, especially if you wear those tight hairstyles. Number 10, the final one. Once you stop the damaging hairstyle, hair will always grow back on its own. What do you think? Myth or fact? Although stop wearing those hairstyles that was putting the tension and damaging the follicle is very crucial, but it does not mean that once you stop that the hair is going to come back. The only way you can reverse traction alopecia is catching it early, and if you catch it early, you're going to see what the extent of the damage is. Therefore, you can do the oils, you can do the vitamins, and you can do topical solutions to help enhance the hair follicle, to promote that growth, to stimulate the growth so that the hair can come back. Only, it just depends on the extent of the damage the traction alopecia has caused. Okay, so I hope that this was something that will help you to understand how traction alopecia can be reversed if you catch it early and the extent of the damage is not too bad. It can be reversed. So there is hope. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Like the video if it helped you. Hit the subscribe button and hit the notification button, and I'll come back. I come back every Monday. Thank you so much for watching. It was a pleasure.